Hello everyone and welcome to our unboxing series for Wave 9 for Star Wars X-Wing. We're kicking it off here with the Shadowcaster, but we will be unboxing all of the ships from Wave 9. So
stay tuned.
Sit back, relax, and stay tuned to catch all of this.
So there's more.
Wave 9, we have 2 Scum ships, 1 Imperial ship, 1 Rebel ship. Kicking it off with Scum here. Let's dive in.
Let's talk about the ship first of all. Look at it. I mean,
just look at it.
Okay, so it's very important. There's something new that's being introduced here that is fascinating.
Okay.
Right? Hashtag mistakes when it comes to the 360 arc, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we have this new arc, right?
This is the right way to do it. This is incredible. It still adds a level of strategy and tactics to being able to shoot wherever you want, but you have to plan for it. It adds maneuvering kind of back in the game.
And you have to spend an action to do it, right?
Yeah.
So you introduce the new action here, and essentially what you see on the bottom of the ship is this little arrow piece, and you can always shoot out your primary arc with the ship, but you can take an action during the action phase to move this to any side. And when you start the game and put the ship into play, you choose what side it's facing.
Yeah, you can put it to any side. You don't have to like move it around 90 degrees.
Nope, not
that's
at all.
way better, yeah, because that would be impossible.
So you do your maneuver, it's like boop, and then it's like, all right, I'll take my action and I will rotate this here. So now I can shoot out of my front and my side.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So that it's kind of the higher the pilot skill here is going to be really, really useful, because if you move after ships, they can't arc dodge you really at all.
I mean, this is correct.
It is correct. It's not just like a universal 360.
What if the Falcon function like that? You know, because you see it in the movies where they're turning the guns.
Oh yeah, but it takes them an action, right? Like it's not just like they're constantly 360 barrage. So that's introduced in the game here, and the ship looks great. I was commenting on that.
Yeah,
this
looks good.
This paint would not have been possible 3 years ago.
It's following the Scum, just random kind of like look. It feels right. It's a little dirty. It's a little grimy.
Well, like look at these big engines on the side, right?
What do you know about this ship, lore-wise?
Lore-wise, it's from the Clone Wars.
Nice.
So typically you'll see like bounty hunters flying it around. Or like
big old pancake, big old frisbee.
Big old pancake. You see it flying around.
Some thrusters.
That's where it comes from.
All right, well, let's talk about the dial first of all, because this is a game about moving.
And this is a big ship that you can't really arc dodge, so the dial not as critical, but the greens are going to matter on this.
The greens are going to matter. So we've got ones, we got banks and straight.
And those aren't green.
No turns, no green, no turns.
All right.
2, we've got a straight green.
Green's
so that's good. And then everything else is white, banks and turns, straight up.
All right.
All the 2s. We have 3s, all of them available and all of them green.
Even the turns?
Turns, banks,
3 turns are
straights.
green?
3 turns are greens.
Woo.
This one turns to the left really well. Get it? We have a 4 straight, which is green.
Okay, this is a strong dial.
Nothing else on the 4s, as you might imagine. 5 straight, which is white, and a 5K turn, which is red. This is actually really maneuverable for this big old guy.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really, really strong ship. A 2-turn is
I love 5K turns. That's just
a 2-turn with a big ship is effectively a 1-turn-ish feel on a smaller ship, and
I'll trust you on that.
Just the way it fits in, and then your ship doesn't really like go very far. But a 1-turn's crazy, but it doesn't need a 1-turn.
Doesn't have it.
But it doesn't need 3 turns. So that's a really good dial. Lots of greens, which is what you want. Especially if you end up getting an EPT slot on any of these, so you can like push the limit, or like if your opponent gives you stress.
Well, we'll see, won't
or
we?
if you K-turn, being able to do a good maneuver out of that is actually pretty important.
All right, so let's talk about the base guy here, the Shadowport Hunter. Baseline stats.
How many points are we talking about?
Frame of reference here, 33 points.
33, okay.
That's a big number. I mean, we're already at a third of the force there.
Yeah, to put that in comparison, right, like a decked out Vader Ace is somewhere between 33 and 39 points.
Wow.
So
let's better bring it.
Buyer beware.
2 pilot skills starting out, 3 attack, 2 defense dice, 7 hull, and 3 shields.
Yep.
So 10 defense, 2 green dice. That's more green dice than I would have expected out of this big old guy, but I like it. It also has 4 actions. It has the focus, target lock, evade, and switch up your turret action, which is probably called like turn or mobile arc or
rotate arc icon.
Rotate arc. Rotate
Very straightforward here, no clever.
You might imagine you can rotate the arc.
And I'll tell you what, an evade on a big ship is really important. The original Falcon had to run their title to get the evade action.
This is actually, it's looking like it's a pretty wily ship for its
is.
size.
It is, and Scum really needed some good stuff. So.
And then finally we have a crew slot. Yeah, exactly.
I joked with the camera.
I get it. You guys see that? You guys we got a crew slot and we got 2 illicit slots. Classic Scum lovin'.
All right, so this is pretty cool. Obviously, crew. There's a lot of really good crew, especially in Scum.
Yes.
Zuckuss, Dengar, Boba,
Forlom.
so on and so forth. Forlom. They have tons of good crew. IG-88, which we'll see in a bit.
Whoa! Spoiler alert.
# spoiler. But also, 2 illicit slots is pretty crazy.
It's a lot of illicit stuff.
There's just like, there's things that you can do that we haven't really seen before. It's sort of like the first time we had 2 crew, you know? It's like, oh, you can double focus, and when you focus, you get it's like,
And then we saw 3 crew, and then it was like, are you serious?
Yeah, we did.
We actually did.
We did. That was a real thing.
We actually did. I saw it at Gen Con myself with my own eyes.
Anyways, that's pretty solid. The actions available to it are thumbs up.
Before you get any further, it's important that we talk about the title, because I think this is relevant, right? So this can go anywhere. It's going to go on the Lancer class Pursuit Craft only. And it's important to know that that's what this ship is, Lancer class Pursuit Craft. That'll give you an idea of like how this is supposed to function. It's a fast, like, it's meant to chase things down. That's important. Actually, I'll read you here. Crime syndicates augmented the lethal skills of their loyal contractors with the best weapons, ships, and tech available. So this is not some scrapyard ship. This is a real this is a mob boss kind of like cruiser here.
And I mean, 10 whole shields, it's going to stick around.
It's pretty solid. Let's start out with a 3-point upgrade. This is the Shadowcaster, what you've all been waiting for.
3 points is
it's serious.
It's serious.
After you perform an attack that hits, okay, you following me?
I'm there.
If the defender is inside your mobile firing arc, which is our little spin the wheel there, cakewalk, and at range 1 to 2, you may assign the defender 1 tractor beam token. Refresher, 1 tractor beam token. First time a small ship gets a tractor beam, you can move it around. You can barrel roll it in any direction you want. You can boost it forward.
Yeah, and you can't do the banks. Yeah,
that'd be cool. It's always a bummer. But then you could also, it's -1 agility.
Yep.
And it stacks up as needed. And that is applying to large ships as well. It's always the -1 agility, and then the small ships you can really play with. So this is Shadowcaster. I feel like I'm going to want this on a high pilot skill ship so that some of my lower pilot skill ships can benefit from that -1 agility. Is that fair to say?
100%. And I think it's tough because if you look at this ship, right, up front, it's at minimum 33 points, plus 3 is 36, so it's a 30-year squad. How many other ships are going to be able to benefit, especially the PS2?
Now, riddle me this, guys out there, guys and gals. Tell me this, Zach specifically, because they can't answer me. If this is triggering after perform an attack that hits, at what point do we check for the attack hitting? Is that -1 agility going to take place immediately?
It's hitting is when they take damage, so they've already rolled, so it won't be on that attack.
It's a real bummer.
Yeah, but I really think more than anything, you could run like this, beefed out with like a bunch of small, low pilot skill ships, and that might work.
Like a bunch of Kirax fighters?
Yeah.
My dream.
Or like the Headhunters, right?
Yeah.
The cheapest one.
You mean the better ships?
Anyways, so you could do that, but I actually think the more important part of it is just barrel roll boosting a ship, which can be really effective, right? You barrel roll them onto an asteroid, you barrel roll them onto a debris, they get stressed. You boost them forward out of arc or in arc or at range 1 or not at range 1 of your other ships, or it's tractor beam is a really strong token.
You know, yeah, I'm just thinking about how effective this would be in certain situations against these pesky AC type ships, where it's like, I'm going to barrel roll you out of position, and then it's like, well, everything's ruined now.
Correct.
If you hit them.
Yeah, well, that's really the trick, right? You got to be able to hit the ace, which is the other part. But you know, with the illicit slot doubled up, like you can crack shot, and like, I think you can definitely make it happen. But it's just a matter of like, is it 3 points?
It's a matter of doing it.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, so let's get to a name pilot. Sabine Rin. So Sabine is...
I've seen that name before.
She's from Star Wars Rebels. She's on the Rebels crew. She's in one of the Rebels crew, like she's on the Rebel faction as well. But she had time in between being at the Academy for the Empire before she joined the Rebellion.
Oh, pre-Sabine.
But she left with her friend to become a bounty hunter. And that was in the middle, and then eventually became a rebel. So this is her during that phase of...
She was finding herself.
Rogue, bounty hunter. Yeah, in the Scum faction. 35 points. So we're paying 2 more. We go up to pilot skill 5. No extra upgrade icons, so no EPT yet.
What's the deal?
I know. But she does get an ability. When defending against an enemy ship inside your mobile firing arc at range 1 to 2, you can add a focus roll to your roll.
Okay, so you get a free focus on the defense if you're pointing at him at range 1 to 2. That seems good. Anytime this is action economy, right? Standard?
Yeah, I mean, the trouble for me is that if you spend your action, if they're not already in your mobile firing arc, you're going to have to spend your action to get them there. And then do you have an action to focus?
Well, but let's be real. Let's think about how this is actually going to work. So you're going to start the game out. You're going to take your opening maneuver with this ship, and you're going to point the arc where it's going to need to be. Period.
That's fair.
Right? And then you move on. I mean, you either come in and you're going to turn this ship so that it's always the initial engagement is firing out of its right side or its left side. Now later on in the game,
yeah, like you could slide it down the edge of the board.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to move it up and I'm going to point my arc like this way, and then I'm going to do a turn, and now I'm just scooting across,
and point it backwards when they're behind you.
Yeah,
which I get.
So I think it'll make sense on the opening engagement for sure.
If she has a way to get focused, then I think this gets really interesting. That's outside of her just standard
double
action.
Focus?
Well, you could do like spec ops and do the double focus, but you don't have the action to point it differently, right?
Yeah.
So if you could point and have a focus, this gets really good to me.
Okay, all right. Well, you seem to know what you're talking about on this stuff.
Well, I'm gonna try.
Let me talk about Asajj Ventress. Just a name.
That's actually an incredible character.
6 pilot skill. Tell me, do you know Asajj?
Yeah, she's like a dark acolyte apprentice of Dooku during the whole Clone Wars thing.
Wow. Okay.
She's a Night Sister as well.
Nailed it. It goes up by 1 pilot skill, 6. It's 37 points. So 6 pilot skill, 37 points. I mean, we're getting heavy.
This is a real ship.
This is real heavy. Opens up the EPT slot.
That's what's up. I'll take an elite pilot talent 8 days a week.
That begins to be the case. That's what I always hear from players like EPT.
That's worth.
How many EPTs can I get? I'll pay extra.
Whoa.
And then at the start of the combat phase, you may choose a ship at range 1 to 2.
Okay.
That's it.
Just a ship?
Just
choose it.
If it,
there it is. Got it.
That one. If it's inside your mobile firing arc, assign 1 stress token to it. I think that's huge.
This is really good.
I think that's huge.
So this is what I'm talking, like in comparison to Sabine, right? I think this is like.
Now it's at the start of the combat phase, right? So you're getting a stress after your maneuver. So you're already taking your actions, etc. But this is really going to come into play the next turn, where they're going to force into a green maneuver, these kinds of things.
They're going to be forced to not take actions or a green maneuver, which makes them. It's really great. And the fact that
you just point at him, give him a stress.
You don't have to hit, right? It's like you take my action, point at you, now you're going to get a stress.
It's the new stress hog.
Yeah. Well,
not quite, but good. I mean, that's 37 points though. How does it read? At the start of the combat phase, you may choose a ship at range 1 to 2. If it's inside your mobile firing arc, assign 1 stress to it.
Okay. Because if it was after each attack, then you put a gunner on that bad boy, and it's like, oh, I missed. You get stressed, and we'll shoot again.
Nah, we're done with those shenanigans.
We are done. All right. Last pilot for the old Shadowcaster, Ketsu Onyo. He is a wildcat. 38 points, 7 pilot skill. He does maintain the EPT, so he could technically be a 9 if you wanted to veteran instincts.
All right.
Up to you. At the start of the combat phase.
An ace? Do we call that an ace?
I don't know that a big ship can be an ace. Anyways, at the start of the combat phase, you may choose a ship at range 1. Okay. If it is inside your primary and mobile firing arcs,
say it ain't so.
Assign 1 tractor beam token to it.
All right. That's fine. It's fine. Obviously, that's going to give the -1 agility. That's going to be significant.
And if you, okay, so let's just go theory mode for a second. Let's say you VI this. He's a 9, right? You make an initiative bid. You only use 97 of your points.
Yeah.
You make him shoot first. You use your mobile firing arc to point at a thing, right? You probably have engine upgrade to be able to boost, so you can get them in range 1 after they've moved. You have the title. You can potentially get 1 or 2 tractor beam tokens on them all of a sudden.
I think that's what it's about. 2 tractor beam tokens right there from Shadowcaster.
-2 agility
and his ability. It's -2 agility. I mean, that ship is potentially just off the board.
Well, and I think what's really helpful here is that Ketsu is at the start of the combat phase.
Yeah.
It's just range 1, give them a token.
Absolutely.
So these aces that have more dice, and that's what makes Shadowcaster hard to use, is you need to be able to hit.
It's essentially a snowball rolling down a mountain at that point. If you can get that initial tractor beam token, maybe you can screw them up and put them on an asteroid or something. Yep. And then you shoot them with -1 agility, and then they get another tractor beam. Well, and then your Kiraxes come in and clean them up.
I mean, we're at a lot of points here, but you have engine upgrades, so you can boost into range if you need to. But then you also have like one of your slots is like a crack shot.
Yeah.
So you're -1 die, and I'm going to take 1 away to be able to hit with the thing.
We're talking Alpha Strike. We're talking Alpha Strike here.
There's something. We're
also talking about an 80-point ship at that point. But you know what?
It's about 50.
It's
but
fine.
That's how it rolls.
It's fine.
That's how this goes.
Well, let's pick it up with the upgrade cards for this release.
Man,
because
I'm so excited about these.
We've got IG-88D, and if you haven't heard already, this is an important part of the game. I mean, we can already just say that this is an important part of the game. This particular card that I'm holding is very important.
All right.
Scum only, 1-point crew slot. You have the pilot ability of each friendly ship with the IG-2000 upgrade card, in addition to your own pilot ability. This essentially makes anyone in your Scum fleet with a crew slot able to benefit from the IG-2000 synergy. I think that's phenomenal. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's so cool.
It's so flavorful. So
IG gets on the thing, he plugs in, and then all of a sudden his robot brain's
because they're all connected, right? So he's on the ship, it counts. And that's what, like, if you're unfamiliar with the IG 2000 philosophy or state of life here in X-Wing.
Yes.
Yes, the IG. Ideology. Ideology, I like that way better. Anyways, essentially they have a title where they share the benefits of each other's pilot skills. So a lot of times that's a reroll on attack if you miss, or a free evade if you take a boost.
Yeah.
And this is essentially allowing that on so many other ships. So
that free evade is going to be big.
Yeah.
Especially for the Shadowcaster.
There's a list called Brobots, which is usually 2 IG-88s, but that literally just opens it up to any scum with a crew slot can now join the Brobot pantheon of options for a list, which is incredible design.
It makes it really opens up the IGs again. Right? I mean, not that they needed it. We just saw them do well at
Let's get more of the top 4. Next up, we have Ketsu Onyo. As a crew, we're seeing this a lot. Scum only, 1 point. At the start of the in phase, you may choose an enemy ship inside your firing arc at range 1 to 2. That ship does not remove its tractor beam tokens. Now, be aware Ketsu can't be on Ketsu because they're unique.
Right.
So
Ketsu on Ketsu.
He probably going to go on like an Asajj Ventress or a Sabine or
cool.
even the cheapest one.
That's cool. So we're really trying to work the tractor beams here.
This is actually the more appealing thing to me because you have other ways, right? You have the Mist Hunter who might have the tractor beam, boom, and all of a sudden it's like
scummy.
If you have 2 tractor beams and then you can't be at range 2 of the ship.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, if you start the turnout with -2 agility, like, what?
You can just melt a pilot. You can just melt them real quick. So Ketsu, the 1-point upgrade, I like that if you're using any tractor beams.
That's very nice. Let's use some tractor. I haven't seen them really play and have an impact yet.
I agree.
That's going to change. Let's talk about Lats Razzie. Scum only, a 2-point crew upgrade. When defending, you may remove 1 stress token from the attacker to add 1 evade result to your roll. This obviously has some synergy with one of the cards that we talked about, which is Asajj. So you put Asajj, you give something a stress token.
When you're
defending,
defending,
you can remove the stress token and get an evade to your roll. It's just a lot of consistency there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cases you have like the Inquisitor's Tie, who's going to be taking a 1 green turn anyway, has a stress.
And let's not forget all these people pushing the limit all over the place.
Are pushing
it's like,
the
well, I'm just going to remove your stress because you're going to do it anyway next turn.
And how does it read? Is it when you're defending?
Yeah, when defending.
Yeah,
remove the stress from the attacker. No range at all.
So you can do that after you've seen the rolls, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, I don't need this, so I'm going to keep you with the stress.
Absolutely.
Or like, I can do it when it's time.
Boy, that's good.
That is
I like
good.
that. I like that card. I like that design.
Next up, we get 2 copies of this card. Illicit Slot 1-point Black Market Slicer Tools.
Ooh,
you ready for this?
Tools.
There's been some debate about this one. Action, choose a stressed enemy ship at range 1 to 2 and roll an attack die. On a hit or critical result, remove a stress token and deal it 1 face-down damage card.
Okay.
So
trade in stress for damage, potentially.
Choose a ship within 1 to 2, remove the stress, roll, potentially get a damage card. Like pass shields.
Pass shield.
Right?
Okay. Well, I mean, I can't say that I don't like it. How much is it? How much does it cost?
1 point.
It's an illicit slot, 1 point? Yeah, that seems good. I think we're really trying to play. This is a very controlling kind of game that's unraveling out of this box. There's a lot of
Welcome to Scum.
There's a lot of decisions being made that aren't like, am I going to 3-turn or 2-turn? It's how am I going to position myself to get the tractor beam tokens that I need or the stress that I need to give myself a long-term advantage and start to activate my abilities.
Sure. And I think just one thing to be very clear on this as well is that it can be used offensively or defensively. You can use it to take stress off your own ships, take a 50-50 shot at taking a damage or not, particularly on ships that are healthier, right? So you might like K-turn, and then it's like I'm gonna pull that stress to me.
That's fantastic. I think that's going to be a bombshell of a card, actually.
I think
that has like
weird
potential written all over it,
especially when you're talking about a 1-point card, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I have an illicit slot I'm not using. This is a pretty good way to sneak damage in. Particularly on cards, the ships that like regen shields, right? Mm-hmm. This is the
Corrin Horn says hello.
Anything with an
and he's pushing the limit a lot of the time
He is. That's how he rolls.
All right. Well, let's move on to a new feature that we've not yet seen in a ship. This is the rigged cargo chute. It's large ship only, illicit slot, 1 point.
All right.
Action: discard this card to drop 1 cargo token. A scum trick if I've ever seen one. Show me that cargo token.
Cargo token right here.
All right, so here's the cool thing about this. This stays on the board.
It does. It's functionally a debris.
Till the end of time.
Yeah, so normally when you're placing these debris, they have to be at least 1 range apart. And you can imagine a ship like this going through the middle of that, ejecting out, and you just have a wall.
Yep.
That's
and
crazy.
you can run 2 of these, right? These things have 2 illicit slots. You can put 2 debris. You can drop them like it's hot. Now, this debris is a little bit different and interesting because if it lands under a ship when you drop it, you immediately resolve the effects. Do you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's on the card.
Mr. Rules.
Here, yeah, you can look at these.
I didn't read the cards at all.
These are included in the thing.
Yeah, in the box.
So you immediately resolve the effect. So if I'm trolling behind something and I drop this out and I end up
gives them a stress, right?
It gives them a stress, yeah, and they immediately have to roll to see if they take a damage. If they take a damage on a crit.
How many points is it? 1?
1 point.
These are correctly costed cards.
It's good, right? Yeah,
really good.
This is really fun. It's really good.
I like
it's
that they're
affecting the board.
playing with that idea, right?
Yeah.
With the obstacles. We already saw last year that update where you bring your own obstacles to the tournament, but this is just another way to make that more and more interesting.
Yeah, it's excellent. I love this. I absolutely love this.
All right,
and wait, important to note, by the way.
There's more.
Remember all that stuff we're talking about removing stress to do things?
Yeah.
Here it is.
There's more ways of giving stress.
We got it.
Yeah. Stress is good, as it turns out. All right, final new card of the entire expansion, the Gyroscopic Targeting, 2-cost Lancer class pursuit craft only modification.
So only this
ship.
Guy, okay.
Yep, it's this cannon right here. At the end of the combat phase, if you executed a 3, 4, or 5 speed maneuver, and it's important to remember it has a 3 green turn.
3 green everything.
3 green
It's Christmas on 3s.
If you execute a 3, 4, or 5 this round, you can rotate your mobile firing arc. But it's at the end of combat.
Okay.
At the end of combat phase,
fine.
you get a free move, right? If you did a 3, 4, or 5.
At the end of the combat phase, you can move your arc.
Yep.
At the end of the combat phase, okay. Now, is there anything that has at the beginning of the end phase? Was that have to have your secondary arc? I don't think it was. I don't think you had to have your secondary arc pointed to activate that ability.
No.
I'm just looking for synergy.
Yeah.
Now, how many of those are in there? Is that
You just get 1, but there's a couple other cards you get in the box.
Wait, you didn't give me the rest of the cards. Oh, they're the old cards. Okay, sorry.
Just calm down,
man.
I got it under control,
I
my
spoke
friend.
too soon.
All right, so you also get in this box Veteran Instincts, the classic 2 extra pilot skill.
Can never have enough.
Countermeasures, which is a card that we could use more of, and you get 2 tactical jammers, which lets your large ships basically obstruct attacks, which is cool.
All right.
Saw that previously in an expansion, and that's it. That is a ton of cards in a box.
Well, this is a cool expansion, Zach. I'm gonna be honest. I love this technology. I'm not gonna call for it. I'm not gonna make a big stink about it. But if anybody wants to join me in petitioning FFG to basically say, hey, can we just make 360 arcs work like this in all the past ships and forever? It just feels way more X-Wing to me. Is this maybe testing for that? Maybe if this works out, we'll go back, look at the Falcon.
I like this immensely better than the 360 arc. It's just way better.
It's X-Wing, man.
Yeah, it's way better. There's still maneuvering, and there's still like you can control it. You can't dodge this ship, which is the point, right?
It's X-Wing.
Falcon is going to shoot you every turn.
Yeah.
Period. But that needs to have a cost.
I love it. All right, we just got to reprint some cardboard, and it's done.
Yep.
Alex,
and well, technically the cards with the action on it and all that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah.
You can get pre-order Wave 9 or order it if it's already out on our store. You can also pick up all sorts of beautiful
templates, tokens, asteroids and debris,
all that kind of stuff, faction
Bling out the
all
board.
that kind
Make
of
it
stuff.
look
Thank
good.
you guys for watching. Be sure to catch the rest of our Wave 9 unboxings. See ya.
9. 9.
Sorry, Wave IX.